Welcome to Richmond TV's presentation of the 59th Annual Good Old Days Festival, the Great Michigan Parade, with your announcers Preston Trend and Caitlin Gordon.
And welcome to the 2023 Good Old Days Grand Parade. I'm your host, Preston Trend, and joining me for our 6th year together is the lovely Caitlin Gordon.
Hi Preston, it's so good to be back. Weird to think that we're already 6 years into doing this, but always love coming back and getting one of the best seats in the house for the parade, honestly. And we've got a big one for today.
We do. We were flipping through our book, and we're going to have about 95 different floats come through and a whole bunch of banners celebrating a whole bunch of different groups, different schools. You know, it's a big culmination of a lot of things going on this weekend.
And really get an idea of just all the people that are involved with Good Old Days Weekend, all of our sponsors, individuals that you've probably seen around the fairgrounds this weekend, and highlighting some really cool events that we've had going on. Yeah,
we talk about this every year, you know, Good Old Days being the weekend after Labor Day. A lot of people, Labor Day is the end of summer. Well, here in Richmond, it always feels like Good Old Days is kind of that end of summer, you know. You got a short work week into Good Old Days, and then fall really starts to pick up.
Yeah.
So as we see the welcome banner coming down, carried by some of our seniors from the football team, and we'll see more of those players from all 3 levels carrying our banners, a nice tradition we've got here at Richmond. Leading the parade are a couple of our senior captains, Connor Bergeron and Matt Mish, and then Jared Haynes there in the middle. And our first group behind that welcome banner are members of the Richmond VFW.
Always a really cool part of the parade, seeing the crowd stand up to show their support and just really appreciating these individuals for the VFW.
Mm-hmm. And we've started too at the school for a couple of our home football games. Members of the VFW will come out and they'll raise the flag during the national anthem. Just another little touch we try to put on some of our events around town. As we see some members of the VFW Post playing patriotic music and tossing some candy to the kids, as well as some of the old Army Jeeps.
And then behind some of those old Army Jeeps, you will see a memorial banner for Karen Lang, who was a very dedicated member of the Richmond Good Old Days family for over 30 years. She also is very dedicated to our Miss Richmond organization, and we actually now have the Miss Congeniality Award in honor of her moving forward, so we can keep her memory very close to us.
As we see some members of the Macomb County Sheriff's Office, their mounted division.
Maybe the horses are how we should have got here. The streets started to get shut down a little early. Me and Preston were a little nervous. We might miss our call times. This is what we needed to get here.
I'm sure we could set that up next year. As we see our new police pickup truck. Some of you may have seen that around town lately. Probably just as important as getting the horses here, making sure they clean up after them as well.
Yes, definitely. A very, unheroic job that does need to get done. So we're glad that we can highlight this young man for taking part in this. But the fire trucks are letting him know that they want their moment to shine. It is not just about the police officers. We also need these individuals recognized, and they're letting him know.
Oh, yeah. There's very few things a fire truck will wait for with his lights on, but I think police horse
the
droppings.
cleanup duty, we'll do it for them, yeah. We probably did all kinds of work to make sure the trucks look good, and they're like, we'll take a moment. We're not trying to run over that kind of stuff.
As we see members of our Richmond Volunteer Fire Department, there's Eric Haynes and his wife Quinn on the 1925 American LaFrance, kind of the symbol of the department. Now immediately behind that is the new engine one that was purchased this year. So we go our oldest truck into our newest truck there. And our ladder 2.
I think the ladder 2 is what was parked over by Waterball, if I'm not mistaken, while that was going on yesterday.
Did they send you up in the ladder?
They did not this year. I did not have to go up in the ladder, which was, you know, always a little bit of a bummer. But the past queens did actually beat the current queens this year.
Nice.
So we finally got a victory. I think we finally broke our 5-year drought of not being able to win.
Nice. As we see some more members of the Richmond Fire Department. So this top hall here is they'll use when they go on medical calls, or they'll use it to transport some extra guys. So that was a new addition to the department this year as well.
We've had some really cool pieces of equipment this year.
My tax dollars are getting put to use. Now this next one's really cool, kid. I don't know if you've seen this yet. As we get a look at water truck. So this next one you'll see is our new ambulance for our EMT program at the school. So now students at the school will be able to take EMT classes and get closer to when they graduate becoming a paramedic.
That's amazing. I love Richmond always setting its students up for success no matter what they want to go into.
As we get to some of our neighboring fire departments with the Lenox Township and Ray Township fire departments.
I always love how the fire departments know to really come prepared with candy. They got the Home Depot buckets. They're not messing around.
No.
Also very excited that this year the honks are not startling me. They're not going to have to cut out any of my audio of me being surprised.
Well, we got used to the noise with the plastic horns that were going off.
We did. The vendor that was selling the plastic horns has been doing a lot of selling in our area.
Kind of got us warmed up for some of these louder events. And we'll talk about it too when we get to some of the bands, but we got to listen to the drumline event across the street as well.
Which is always very cool. They did add on a clinic though that's being hosted at the Odd, and myself and Preston were a little sad. We thought for a second that that's where they were going to host the drumline event, but luckily it's still in the good old place that we're used to. But now they have that extra layer for the bands that are coming out this way, so that way they can really get more involved with the festival.
Yeah. As we see the Joe Ballard towing, we could call it an antique tow truck.
And luckily the quality, hasn't really changed for Joe Ballard. Day or night, they are here to help us. Mm-hmm. They've even helped us clear out the parade route some years when individuals just missed the queue that unfortunately we needed the roads available.
That might be why they put them close to the front, is if they see cars that are still parked there, while they're going through, they can tow them out. And up next, we have our parade grand marshal. This year is Mark Daniel. And again, we talk about this every year when we get to the Grand Marshal portion. The Good Old Days Committee does a great job of identifying individuals that really exemplify, what the festival is about and what town is about. People that have been dedicated to different areas throughout the years, and Mark is certainly one of those. He's been involved in the community for over 40 years. He worked as a Detroit public school teacher and Wayne State athletic director. So one of my guys. He taught driver's ed. I went through his driver ed school up at St. Pete's. And I actually got a chance to meet with Mark, just a pass encounter on Thursday. So came up, I told him who I was. He gave me a big old hug, asked me how I was doing. Just an awesome guy and well deserving of that honor of being our Grand Marshal.
Absolutely.
One of my favorite mascots next with the Richmond Lions Club. I don't think we've ever gotten his name, have we?
No, we always say every year, but he's very in demand. It's hard to get an audience with him to really, get a little interview.
As we see some sponsor banners go by, Fred Grandy Ford and D&E Landscaping. And our first band is the Richmond High School Marching Band.
Always good to kick off Good Old Days with the hometown band. Really set the tone for all of the other really cool bands that we're going to see throughout this parade. And luckily for all of our bands, we have a beautiful parade day for it. A little bit of an overcast, it's not too hot, so we don't have to feel quite as bad for all those individuals carrying the larger instruments.
And we spoke about the drumline event that takes place immediately before the parade. The band's been busy. We had a home football game Friday they played at halftime of. I believe some of them walked in the children's parade yesterday. They'll play a couple different shows today. So not only are there's a lot of people around and a lot of different groups that are busy all weekend. So. And speaking of people that are busy all weekend.
Yes, 3 of my favorite ladies in town. We have our 2023 Miss Richmond, Ella Hill, and her court members, Megan Schultz and Brianna Albers, who have been very, very busy, very in demand this weekend. And Preston, I think I mentioned to you earlier, these 3 ladies have a very special place in my heart. All 3 of them were little misses when I was Miss Richmond back in the day, so it's so cool to see them on top of the float and all the attention be on them. 3 amazing seniors at Richmond High School. If you have not gotten the chance to say hi to them, please look for them for the rest of Good Old Days weekend.
And following the big queens, we've got our Little Miss Richmonds, who were crowned
Thursday.
During opening ceremonies on Thursday. So our Little Miss Richmond this year is Haley Kleinhans, and her court members are Tristan Sarah, Jolene Rose, Mila Niebauer. Mila Niebauer and Charlotte Blunt. Didn't want to forget you there, Charlotte.
They look so darling on their float. The first of many appearances that they will have in their reign.
As we see a couple more sponsor banners, Richmond Transport and Dr. Julie C., dentist office here in town. One of my favorites growing up always was the fife and drum corps, which we're seeing go by now, the Revolutionary War garb. And next is Representative Jamie Green. You're seeing her there on the left side of your screen in the green, waving and shaking hands with some of her constituents, some of our parade watchers. The fire truck is Jeff Yarrick's, antique fire truck. They were a little worried the truck wasn't going to be available for the parade. They were able to get the repairs done. As we see Mr. Yarrick driving and waving to our parade watchers.
Everybody in Richmond, always very dedicated to Good Old Days Parade. I'm sure probably did a lot of time and energy to make sure he could get that going.
Next, we've got a lot of our teachers and administrators from Richmond Community Schools. There's Amy Rio, our new Director of Student Services. We just are coming off of our first week of school. And the week before that, we had Blue Devil Nights, where we opened the school up to everybody to see what all the bond work did, all the new projects. As you see Mr. Walmsley passing out candy, some of our board members. Amy's got a trophy there, and I wonder what it's for. There's Miss Manguni and her husband, Miss Morella, our new middle school principal, and there's Paul Knight, just walked by, our assistant principal at the middle school, handing out pencils, it looks like. So,
you know, even after the first week of school, I'm sure a lot of kids came home and a lot of supplies are already missing that their parents had just bought them. So probably a good use.
But again, if you haven't gotten around to at least just drive through campus and see all of the great renovations that were done, I'd encourage you to go to give it a look. Next is our District 7 8U softball champs. Great job, ladies.
And another sponsor walked by, North Star Bank, with another one of the mascots that's very hard to get an interview with before these parades to really understand what they've been doing all year since we've last seen them.
Yeah. So members of North Star Bank and their families passing out beads to our parade watchers. Kind of a pretty good idea for an advertisement for a bank. You get a nice side-by-side, and then you advertise that you can finance it through their bank. Don't let Sam see that part of that. Jason, we might need to cut that out of there before she watches it. She's been hounding me about buying a side-by-side, and I'm like,
I mean, it's kind of needed for Good Old Days weekend, though. Think of how on time you would have been if you would have just had the side-by-side. You wouldn't have to worry about the car.
I was here on time.
You were. I will give it to you. You did beat me once again.
As we see a couple more sponsor banners, Thomas McGovern, attorney, and Verlindi Insurance. And you're hearing our Ingersoll Pipe Band.
Another one of our bands that travels a pretty good distance to come and be with us all the way from Canada.
Yep.
And then Preston, you might know a little bit about this. We have our Children's Parade winner, our Under the Sea theme.
Yeah, you know, every year our walk as Count Richmond appears for the Children's Parade. This year the theme was Under the Sea, and there's a lot of really cool creative things people did. One of the things I saw they did with these pool noodles is making them look like coral.
Yeah.
I'd never seen that before. It was really cool.
I know I caught a couple of them. We had Bikini Bottom going through. We've got jellyfish, mer people. It was a really cool children's parade.
Yeah. Yeah, our Children's Parade Committee does a great job of, you know, identifying a theme and getting that out to all the different floats, and everybody does their thing, but also within that scope of the theme, so it's pretty cool. As we've got the Ottenbacher Farms float. The farms have been in Lenox, Michigan, owned and operated since the 30s. So it's a 4-generation farm. And again, you can't say enough great things about all of our farmers around town, and we'll talk about a couple more different family farms as we go through, and they're about to get real busy here real soon.
Yes, it's almost my favorite time of the year, which means those farms and cider mills are going to be very jam-packed.
And we got members of our Richmond Masonic Lodge. The Masons this year were doing the, they had their, I guess you call it the little beer tent on the baseball diamond at Good Old Days. So,
just in case the big one got too full, you could go to the mini beer tent.
As we see members of our Richmond varsity cheer team. The ladies finished third last year in the state, won the BWAC for the 18th consecutive time, and they're looking to be primed for another deep run this year.
Yeah, I think it's going to be another amazing season with the coaches, and I'm super excited to see what those ladies are going to be able to accomplish.
As we see Foster Blue Water Oil and My Choice Energy. And the Dakota Marching Band.
Preston, should we start our game early for this band? Can you name that song?
Give me a second. Oh, I missed it. What was it?
I don't know. That's why I was asking. That's why I figured I'd start the game so you could tell me. It's okay. We'll get the next band.
We see too that we'll see a lot of these big band trailers. I mean, you look at the number of students in these bands, you've got to get them to the parade.
Yeah.
But you've also got to haul all of these instruments, all of their supplies. It really is a whole day ordeal.
Yeah, to get all the kids out here. We've been seeing a ton of buses come through for these schools to make sure the kids get here safely. If the parents weren't able to do it, and honestly, they probably need all of the above to get everything here.
Another one of our programs here at the school that's been growing pretty steadily, you see, is the robotics team. And they've been doing demos with their robot throughout the weekend. You see it there on the left side of your screen. One of the big renovations at the school recently was the kind of revamping of that robotics wing now. So it's in a couple of an old science classroom that they totally renovated and made it a pretty legitimate looking workshop room for these guys to build and train and get ready for their competitions. So we see members of the robotics team getting a nice close up with our camera. So going to try to pick it up.
The robot saw it's time to shine and it went right for the camera.
Excuse me. And we can't say enough about this weather we got today. Just beautiful. Not a ton of sun. Knock on wood. There's no rain. Nice and cool.
If anything changes, it's because Preston jinxed us.
So we got a couple more sponsors: Eric Groenveld and Extra Credit Union. As we see members of our Easy Riders, the Shriners, another Canadian group that makes their way down over here every year for the parade. Big time favorite of the kids too, with the mini motorcycles.
Mm-hmm. A staple for every parade. I feel like it's not a good parade if we don't see these mini bikes.
And there's one over here spraying our crowd with water. I don't think they mind that too much on a day like today. And again, the Shriners are such a great group, not just about, entertaining the kids here during the parades, but they do a ton of work with children and hospitals and getting medical care to families that may not be able to afford it. So,
always a great cause to look into if you're thinking of somewhere you maybe want to volunteer with or see somewhere that you want to donate. Highly would recommend checking them out.
Yes.
I might just have to call them to see how on earth you learn to drive one of those things. I don't know if I can even handle a normal motorcycle, let alone a little one.
I know. As we see some of the mini go-karts. It does take quite a bit of skill too to drive. What people don't understand is trying to turn these around and do those loops. It takes a little bit of skill.
And they're moving and grooving. Kids want them to come by and swoon by, so they are ready for it.
Yeah. Next is members of our St. Augustine Church with their tropical theme. Different members of the school and some of the teachers and parents.
They just had their little festival not too long ago as well, correct?
Yep. It's usually, I think it's the second weekend of August.
Yeah.
As we see Father Mark walk by us, new to the community. More sponsors, Health Quest Physical Therapy and American Energy Services. I gotta give a plug to my guy Chris over at Health Quest. He does awesome work for our kids at the schools, and some of the patients I've talked to that he's had said he's phenomenal. So if you need physical therapy, make sure you check out Health Quest. Yeah.
Here we have the Centerline High School Marching Band coming in. Now, Preston, this song I think you got.
Summer Nights.
There you go.
Ding, ding, ding.
We redeemed ourselves. This one we got.
And it looks like Greece would be, oh my gosh, was that just, we just had a lady walk by in a jacket that looked like she could have been a pink lady.
Play it and they will come.
Now I need to know if she's like with the band or if that was just like a crazy coincidence.
Ma'am, we have questions.
Because it looks like, based on their shirts, it looks like Greece is the Centerline band team this year. As we see members of the Boy Scouts carrying the Richmond Sportsman's Club banner. Boy Scouts were in the children's parade with us. They were right in front of Count Richmond. Yeah. When I was watching Count Richmond walk.
Yeah. Another, he's a lot better though about doing press, Count Richmond. It's a lot easier to get him in front of the camera, figure out what's going on with him and all the events.
As we see Macomb County Prosecutor Peter Lucido's banner. I believe this is him coming through in one of these convertibles.
I think he might be this very first one we've got.
Rocking down there, man. That looks like him. Yep.
Yeah. I like this little bus he's got with the projector.
And the speakers. So I'd never seen one of these vans like this, and you'll see it coming into frame here soon. I'd never seen a van like this where it's got like a video billboard on it until we were at the school and we were in the process of buying the new marquee signs for each building. And they brought one of these vans to show us the difference in the pixel sizes.
What you could get, yeah.
That's sweet.
Maybe one year we'll have to invest in this and we'll just do the parade live going down. We can project ourselves on there and really show everybody what's coming up.
Wow.
He heard it was a musical parade and he wanted to be prepared for it.
And again, those plastic horns at the beginning of the parade got us ready for this level of volume.
Yeah, we were not phased at all. We were prepared for it.
You didn't jump,
I didn't jump. I'm doing really good so far. Knock on wood, maybe I'll make it the whole parade without a jump scare from me.
This next one, I don't think we've seen this before. The Schultz family McDonald's Mustang.
Yeah, the Mustang is new.
Ronald McDonald upgraded.
Yeah, talk about a statement piece. The golden arches on a car like
Red
that.
Mustang. We could still hear that Peter Lucido van going down the road. So again, we're looking at Schultz family McDonald's right there. Owners of a couple different McDonald's around the area, including ours here in town. But I am a pretty frequent patron at.
Frequent flyer there.
That app gets me, man.
Oh,
It's
the
just-
app makes it so much easier.
Yeah, I'm just like, all right, I guess so. And I'm loving it I'm loving this Mustang, Caitlin.
You're gonna see if you can order that on the app. Like, how do we rent this out?
Ooh, yes. As we look at Austin DeBuck Landscaping and Design, some of their pieces of equipment.
I'm loving it. They're mixing it up. They got candy. They got bubbles.
There's been a couple different spots around town where I've seen, another project completed by DeBuck Landscaping. So they do really, really good work.
Sure, they'll be busy over the next month while they're winding down a couple of projects before officially winter hits in, and then might slow down a little bit. Give them a little bit of a break.
Maybe not, Caitlin. We're seeing the snowplow come too.
You know what? You're right. They'll just switch from one area to another.
I like this little thing. Should get that for my driveway. I'll have to talk to Austin.
See if you can borrow it a little bit.
There's the big DeBuck Landscaping plow truck. I haven't seen Austin yet. He might have been on the other side throwing candy. Some more sponsors, Pyro Joe's and Commercial House, formerly Chaps. And I got to give some props to Pyro Joe's. They, this year again, have been doing fireworks for us at the home varsity games during the national anthem. So, one of those, just another little cool piece to put on there. Following their band is the Miss Armada and her court. Fresh off the Armada Fair a little less than a month ago.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, we have an extra special guest on this float as well. We also have Miss Romeo's court member, Joanna Claus, accompanying the 2023 Miss Armada, Emma Dawson, and her court members, Katie Stirs and Natalie Starr. I love that. I love seeing the queens of different communities getting together and, bonding, sharing some of the little spotlight, and coming out here and, supporting us for the Richmond Good Old Days.
Mm-hmm. Next up, you're seeing members of the Art in Motion Dance Academy. Group of dancers, ages 7 to 19. The dance studios right there on Main Street, right by the railroad tracks. They were selling water and I think chips and stuff when I walked by this morning.
I'm not gonna lie, the girls tripped me up a little bit with their costumes. I was trying to figure out what new cheer team they had going on in town.
They do look like cheerleading uniforms. Red, white, and blue theme with their flags. And like we said, a little bit longer parade than this year, Caitlin. That takes us to the end of page 1 as we see the Kate's Funeral Home and Joe Ballard towing banners. And again, all of these sponsors are critical to the success of not only the festival, but the parade. It helps cover the costs of all these different bands and groups that come out. As well as
a lot of different events that you see going around for the festival and that hopefully you've been able to participate in.
As we see our Detroit Keystone Cops. Their big wheelie buggy. They just went by and sprayed a bunch of these little kids there. They had no idea that was coming. Thankfully, we sit far enough back off the street, I don't think they can get us.
They have tried in previous years, but we also have a tent, which definitely helps protect us from them trying to get it. However, though, it does prevent them from throwing us candy as well. So double-edged sword there. We're not getting squirt, but no candy.
And we've got another very special guest coming down Main Street. This is Miss Michigan teen Avery Hill. She was crowned in June and she'll be competing in the Miss Teen USA September 26th to the 29th at Nevada. So she's a resident of Farmington Hills. So she made the trip all the way up here to join us today.
Wishing her best of luck when she gets ready to go and compete not that far out. And if you're able to, definitely tune in, support, and hopefully we have another Miss Michigan crown for Miss USA.
A couple more sponsors, Crane Rental and Golden Hawk. I'll be out there this next weekend for our golf outing. And Growing Smiles Pediatric Dentistry. And the red, white, and blue, the Cosno Patriot Marching Band. One of our regulars we have every year here at Good Old Days.
Probably one of our larger bands that we have to come out and participate I believe this year they have 115 individuals a part of their band. Another unspoken hero of these longer parades are the water moms for these bands.
Yep. You gotta, it's it's not as long as it used to be of a parade route, but it is a decently long route, starting back at the corner of Ridge and Main and going all the way past St. A's. So it ends up being just over a mile.
When you're carrying all that equipment and instruments.
I feel bad for whatever kid's got the tuba.
He's got the hardest one.
Yeah, that's the real hero. That's the real hero. Shout out to Tuba Kid. As we see Jonathan Frank Law Firm and Richmond Relics. If you haven't gotten a chance to check out Richmond Relics, the antique shop here in town, make sure you do. They got some awesome stuff in there. And this next one, these are nice clowns. These are nice clowns.
These are the ones you're okay with.
Yeah. These are the Shy Alley Clown Club. I don't think we've seen them before.
I think they are a newer participant. But luckily, they're good clowns. They're ones that we can get behind.
Kate, you guys will, I'm sure we'll get to it a little bit later, but we'll get to yep, there it is. Halloween stuff coming up.
Preston's least favorite and one of my top floats that always comes by.
Yeah. Not a fan. What I am a fan of, though, is district champion baseball teams. Congratulations to the 9 to 11-year-old Little Leaguers on their district championship. As we see members of the team up there in their Richmond blue and white. And I saw this one getting ready down the street from me, and I didn't realize there were going to be a float in the parade, but Dirk Shoes and Hummingbird Home, right at the end of my street there on Gleason. This next rockin' and rollin' group we're hearing is some of the staff from Hamlin Pub, some of their friends. There's Jimmy Tavano and his wife, Mary Beth.
They took the party from the pub and they brought it to us.
I wonder if that float is just going to go right through the end of the parade, right through just drop everyone off at the pub. We got members of the Richmond High School trap team. Again, one of our perennial top programs we've got at the school. Each year they're competing for state and national recognition. So, great work, trap team.
Oh, look at that. We got a princess wave going on from the varsity players. I love that they're taking notes.
Yes. One of the big fundraisers the trap team does to offset a lot of those costs is they'll do a side-by-side ride every May. So we're seeing some of those vehicles there.
Sounds like Sam might get her way then. You got that going on.
I know. Don't let her see this.
I'll find her after the parade and let her know.
Who's this, Caitlin? Who do we got coming down?
We have Veterinary Care Center of Richmond. So for all the fur babies that we brought out to celebrate the parade, a great, group of people to take to make sure that they are healthy and happy going into the school year and everything. It's not just the kids, it's the animals we've got to make sure are good too.
And some of the staff there from the veterinary center. And there we see members of the Pankowitz family in their 1939 cider mill with their antique John Deere tractors. They're another group that's going to be real busy here real soon.
I think they are officially open for cider season, so if you want to take advantage of this beautiful weather, go check them out.
Couple more sponsors, Wesley Orthodontics and Bertassi Bulldozing. I know Gary Bertassi's been busy all weekend getting the Derby pit ready for the bump and run, the figure eight, and the Derby. A little bit of rain on Friday, but they were able to, get everything to go off without a hitch. So big thank you to them. And we're hearing members of the Zenobia Jeepsters, another division of the Shriners we saw earlier. Sponsors Pradco, Gallagher, Solanic Dentistry, and New Holland.
Oh, here is a drum line that came prepared. We have Great Lakes Drum Corps alums. Love that they're having the float do the work for them while they entertain us.
With some patriotic music. And members of First State Bank of Richmond, big time sponsor of the festival and the parade. So we see some of the staff members and their families encouraging us to give a hoot about our finances.
That's how you get people to come in. You give them a catchy slogan,
Yep.
and they'll come rushing through the door.
After all the fair food this weekend, I might need to get my finances checked in on.
Order a little bit more.
Preston, you bought 13 elephant ears this weekend. I'm a sucker for elephant ears.
I mean, it's a fair treat. You gotta let yourself indulge every now and again. It's the last one of the season.
True. And these John Deere tractors belong to Charney Farms up in Avoca, Michigan. With their antique truck hauling antique tractors.
Like you said earlier, got to give a shout out to all of our farmers that are definitely very busy right now.
Yep.
And you see the giant Tootsie Roll, Preston, that can only
Yes.
mean one thing. It's the Richmond Knights of Columbus.
Yes. It's Tootsie Roll time. And again, another group, the Knights are another group you can't say enough great things about. Doing work around the church and in the community. It's more than just Tootsie Rolls with the Knights of Columbus.
That should be their new catchphrase.
Yes.
Put on a t-shirt.
Well, they're passing out full-size ones too. One of our regulars here in the parade is the Ray Wiegand 1957 GMC Carryall. Just went by, along with sponsors Bailey Dental Group and Active Tree.
And another one of our many marching bands we will see, it is the Almont High School Raiders marching band.
Some Van Halen for us.
We're just getting all kinds of the spectrum of the musical scale with these different floats coming through. And following up behind them, we have the Bayarama Fish Fly Festival with their Fish Fly Queens. Another really cool festival that we have in the area, and you know, as somebody who lives closer to the water now and gets the fish flies very often, I appreciate the glittery one that we have up there. The more you deal with them, the less creepy they are, if you ask me.
Yeah. Well, there's times you hit Anchor Bay or that area at the wrong time of the summer, and you'll learn quickly what a fish fly is.
Oh, yes.
And we see some of the staff from Set in Stone Construction, general contractors. If you need anything done around your house, they are located right next to BP here in town. And you'll see that big retired Army transport sitting outside, so it's hard to miss their shop.
Yeah.
This next one are members of St. Pete's Lutheran Church and School. Now we've got some of the St. Pete's staff, some of the students up there waving, tossing candy.
They're doing good handfuls of candy, too.
Yeah. Going with the medieval theme, the armor of God. And I misspoke earlier. That antique car that came by was driven by Jeremy Yake. This is the 1957 GMC Carryall by Ray Wiegand.
We just get a little excited about the classic cars.
Sponsors Hamlin Pub and Proline Asphalt. Another band that travels a little bit of a distance to get here are the Fife and Drum Corps out of Plymouth.
Well, one of the top band outfits that we get to see.
Yes. And that's what I love about the parade is we get these different bands and stuff that come through. So it's not all high school marching bands.
Yeah.
It's not all floats playing recorded music. You know, we get some variety as we sit here and enjoy it.
A little something for everybody we have here in Richmond for the good old days.
And we're looking at the Stover's Firewood 1940 pickup truck. At our sponsors, Rick's Shop and Richmond Collision.
Yeah, if you ever want to come say hi to me and Preston before we start shooting, we're right next to Rick's.
Yep.
You can help with our competition to see who gets to see the most people before we actually start.
As we got more members of the Shriners.
This crew is moving and grooving in these cars.
And you know they've got to just be loving being able to zip around on the street and wave to all of these great parade patrons.
Oh yeah. Especially too, if they don't go fast enough, how are their flags gonna, really wave?
As we see sponsors Grace Performance and T's Rockin' Roadhouse. It feels like, in looking out here at just the area we're sitting in, it feels like it's filled up with more people just even since the parade started today.
Yes, definitely.
It's getting a little more crowded down here, and that's one of the things with the parade is you've got to get a seat early or you're not going to get a seat.
That's one of the things that I always love when I come back into town for Richmond Good Old Days to stay with my parents is we'll drive through Wednesday night or early on Thursday and people already have their chairs set up. And everybody's like, is it really that necessary? And it absolutely is that necessary. If you want a top spot, you got to be prepared for it.
Yeah, I mean, every year I'll walk from my house down to the parade because I hate fighting with traffic. It's almost faster. And, you know, even that early in the day, it's 2-3 people deep in a lot of areas. So,
absolutely. And Preston, I know you were nervous about some of the floats that are coming by in a little bit, but we put the Ghostbusters in front of them so you are safe and sound. Nothing to be worried about.
I do like how they set this up, and you'll see when we get to it, but we're looking at the big Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, Ghostbusters, and all of their bubbles.
And they got mini Ghostbusters in training walking with them. Love how they're getting the next generation ready for it.
Make sure they don't cross the streams. We're getting some of that foam coming back here at us, all the way back here in our tent.
Just to make sure that we're safe too.
And the classic Ghostbusters hearse.
That's a car I can get behind. We'll get you the McDonald's one. I'll take the Ghostbusters. We'll be good to go.
And like we said, we had the Ghostbusters leading Scarefest Scream Park.
But luckily, I think they've heard your pleas over the last few years, and they kept it a little less scary this year. But as we are getting closer to spooky season, definitely a really cool area to go check out with your friends. Take the kids there. They have really cool haunted houses, hay rides, and I think they still do paintball zombies as well.
Ooh. Nice. As we see Richmond Rotary Club and Metal Lodge of Richmond sponsor banners. And sponsors Stephen Hines Chiropractic and Henry Ford Health. And again, some of our Richmond football players carrying those banners. As we see the red and white of the Romeo High School Marching Bulldogs.
Another one of our larger bands that we'll see throughout the parade today.
This next one we're going to see after the Romeo trailer. It's got a pretty cool story behind it. It was one of the cars in our classic car show that takes place behind Macy's, and it's a 1978 Solar Gold, and it's actually signed by Burt Reynolds.
Talk about a cool souvenir to have.
The Bandit himself signed this car. That is awesome.
Now we have the Richmond Community Theater, who I believe is doing Annie.
I know, yep. I know their show this past June, they did a Dr. Seuss musical, a Seussical.
Some might say.
So yep, they've got Annie coming up September 29th and 30th, and then October 1st, 6th, 7th, and 8th. And we go from antique cars to antique tractors. This is the group of Massey Harrisons and McCormick Farmalls.
Big group of individuals coming out to show some antique tractors. I think some of them were on display over the weekend. If you got a chance to go check them out.
And it's crazy. We talk about all these different groups and these different things that go on in and around good old days, and I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't go see that, or I didn't get to see the classic car show, or I didn't get to see the tractors, because there really is so much going on. There's a little something for everybody, and
unfortunately there's only so much time in the 4 days that Good Old Days is in town.
Yeah. Again, if you want to mark it down for next year, you can check out these tractors on display down at BB Park. Couple more sponsors, Supreme Electric and TM Smith Tool. And the Highlanders, the Macomb Highland Pipe and Drum Band.
I don't know what it is, but there's something about bagpipes that just makes me happy, especially during a parade.
It would be a parade without bagpipes.
No.
And this sea of red and yellow are members of the Francis Manchik family and their restored Massey Harris tractors.
They're a herd of tractors,
I know.
if you ask me.
Different members of the Manchik family. There's Scott Smith, Nick Shuttleworth, Jody Smith.
It's always so cool to see individuals like this come through, where it's just more generations getting added in, which is why I think we're getting so many now, is the generations just keep growing and growing, so we can get more tractors in.
Yep. You get more families means you've got more barns.
Yeah.
More barns means more room for tractors. So.
And when you have that many good-looking tractors, you can't leave one of them out.
No. And you gotta show them off in a parade like this. That was a pretty cool shot we got right at the beginning of this group too, just that sea of red and yellow. Even the golf carts are red.
They keep with their theme. And you can see on this last one, bringing up the newer generation who, by the time we're celebrating our 12th anniversary of doing this, they'll be driving their own tractors.
So now we've got another decommissioned Army transport. It looks like this one is driven by members of the Blue Devil Jiu-Jitsu Gym.
Yeah, Preston, I feel like if our Ghostbusters can't save you from all the scary parades coming through, I feel like these kids could definitely help us out here.
I know, they look pretty tough down there. I wouldn't want to mess with some of them. All coming down in their blue and black. Some of their parents riding and waving behind them. See, they got the right idea, Caitlin. They got the electric scooters.
Yeah, maybe we should let the band Water Moms know that trick, and we'll get at that for next year.
So we're actually getting a really good shot here, too, of both of our town clocks. I think this one's just about as well known as our actual town clock. That would be Mark Ellis playing the piano. Each year he picks a new musical theme. And he'll play that piano the whole way down the parade route. I got friends down on Gleason Street that say, Mark's still going at it.
He's still going strong. Another staple of our Richmond Good Old Days parade. It just doesn't feel like we're really at the good old days until he comes by.
No. So this one, Caitlin, I'm always amazed by this because I see this truck from Jeremy's Automotive. I mean, it's not a monster truck. It's whatever is a monster truck to a monster truck. I want to know how those people get in and out of there because that thing is big.
I'm convinced that they secretly live there full time and they just have people hoist things up to them.
Probably.
It's got to be the easiest way.
Drop a bucket down. So as we see some more members of Jeremy's Automotive and their families. If you haven't checked out Jeremy's, it's down there on Gratiot, just outside of town. I've taken my Jeep there. You know, it's quick turnaround. They do some awesome work, so I got to give my props to my crew over at Jeremy's. And a couple more sponsor banners. We've got Blue Flame Propanes and Sunrise Convenience Stores. I know they were, BP was packed this morning when I did my walk down. I usually go get a coffee there. And
the bands love BP, and they were passing out flyers for free drinks. We were even lucky enough to get a couple of them, so don't blame the bands for heading that way.
So shout out to Foster Oil. Now the blue and yellow band you're seeing are the Memphis Marching Yellow Jackets, our neighbors to the north.
Always so cool when we can get so many of the local bands in the area to come out for our parade. It's always really cool just to see them all get together throughout the festival weekend. And of course, we mentioned previously when they do the drum line across the street before the parade starts is always so cool.
And not a far drive from Memphis either, no. And a little bit smaller school, but definitely not a small sound when they come through. They could keep up right there with some of the bigger bands we've seen today.
Yeah, 100%. They are the quintessential poster child. It's where it's really not the size of the band that matters. The sting can still be there, as you see right there on their banner. Hear the sting, and we hear you, Memphis.
This next one, and I saw it on my list and I got all excited because this has quickly become one of my favorite, I guess I call it a store in town.
Favorite store?
And it would be Casco Rental. Like if anybody out there is looking for a Christmas gift for me, get me a gift certificate to Casco Rental because it started with renting a couple things to do the concrete in my garage, and then you know I had to trim some hedges, so I got a lift, and every time I go on their site I go, ooh, that mini excavator right there would be pretty cool. Think of all the things I could do with that, or I could do with this and that.
I was going to say, as it slowly transition from actual projects around your home to what projects can I create to go there?
Yeah, what can I use this for? So
make sure you give Nick a call down there at Casco Renault, and he'll find something for you to get your projects done or even start a new one. So, and Caitlin, I know you're a big fan of the dogs, and I'm a big fan of the Doghouse Tavern up there in Memphis.
Yes, good place to go. And as they are showing here, they not only have their two-legged employees, but their four-legged employees running around. So definitely a cool place to check out if you have not already.
And they've done a lot of work up there too, with Sage Creek Winery right behind it. They've kind of created a little almost social district up there in Memphis where, you know, the two backs of the restaurants meet up.
Which is always fun.
A lot of fun. And I think this is more of our friends from Casco Renault. Got a little Hawaiian theme, kind of going with the children's parade under the sea theme.
Yes, also a nod to the late Jimmy Buffett, which is definitely really cool to have going around. I'm sure he is loving this portion of the parade from us.
I was walking down to the parade, and you know, everybody sets their chairs out 2-3 days in advance, and I don't know if it was just my brain going, oh yeah, Jimmy Buffett, Margaritaville, but I saw a bunch of Margaritaville chairs set up in a couple different spots too. It wasn't like one big one. So
you just gotta have it ready and easy to find the chairs, because it's not a joke. You better be 3 days out there getting your spot for the parade, or you are very easily 5 to 6 rows back in some of those real hot spots.
And we've seen quite a few of the Shriners come through. This is their tall Shriner division. So we've got the big crybaby, and then the Shriner bear waving to our crowds. I bet you they're happy it's a nice little overcast day today.
Always a beautiful day for a parade when you actually have the overcast. A lot of people think we want sunny, but the overcast is exactly what all of us want.
Couple more sponsors, Dick Huvars of Richmond and Richmond Kroger. And we've talked about, you know, bands having themes and really getting into it. And another one we've got here, our friends from Port Huron Northern, the Marching Huskies, have a grease theme for their band as well.
Always really cool when you see the bands get so involved with whatever their themes are for, you know, during football games, whether they're actually going out to compete at festival for the bands and everything. And I think it makes it more fun for the kids as well. I guess the big question here, Preston, is if we're back in Greece, are you a T-bird or are you a pink lady? I mean, you could be anything you want to be.
I would have to be a T-bird. I mean, I could wear, Sam makes fun of me all the time because I will come home from work and put jeans on. Because jeans are like my sweatpants for some reason. They're like my comfort clothes. So I could rock jeans and a white T-shirt for sure.
You're probably the only person I've ever heard. I'll have to figure out exactly how jeans can be the comfortable clothes to change into.
So nice. I mean, we get this view looking down Main Street towards the fire department and the town clock, and you really get a scope of, you know, how packed this part of town is for the parade. And it's hard to wrap your head around it being that packed the whole way down Main Street, all the way to St. A's. And that's just a testament to the parade.
Yeah, and you can almost make the argument that this is the lighter portion of the parade where you're going to see people. The further down you get, I feel like we get more and more packed with individuals.
So as we get another couple sponsor banners, Print All, they bought the old City Hall here in town, and DeBuck Landscaping. And this next one looks like we got some pirates coming down Main Street. This is the Crew of the Forgiven.
And I saw in our little cheat sheet they're actually under a new captain this year. So big changes in the pirate community.
We'll have to catch up with them later and really discuss how that transition would go in the pirate community. I'm not well versed in pirate leadership.
and really what it
protocols.
takes to get a new captain in there. I have a sneaking suspicion we might be able to find them in the beverage tent after this is all said and done.
I hope they take the boat in there. That is a pretty sweet looking boat.
Very cool.
Northern Heating and Cooling, and I believe that was a Jeremy's Automotive banner. We're getting all caught up looking at the pirate ship. We almost missed a couple of our sponsors. And again, can't say enough great things about our sponsors. They help us put on this parade, help get all these bands to come out. It's a big support for the festival and all the work the festival does with different groups around. And we'll talk more about some of those volunteers coming up towards the end. As we get a look at a couple more Shriners on their motorcycles.
Yes, we've been impressed with the work we've seen on their smaller bikes, their cars and everything, but they can still impress and do those tight turns on those large motorcycles.
Mm-hmm. And I think one of the things that, people don't realize, the skill with riding these motorcycles is you're not only trying to keep it, turn around on the road and keep it between the sidewalks, but you got to dodge some kids sometimes too, especially if you're behind somebody that's throwing candy.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of kids dodging across the street in the brakes to make sure they leave no candy left behind.
No, that's one thing we really don't have to worry about picking up after the parade is, there's not going to be much candy left with all these kids.
Absolutely not.
And we're trying to get a look. Yep, these are, here it is. So it's Expert Storage Solutions out of Armada. Another decommissioned Army vehicle there with the old camouflage Hummer.
I feel like our decommissioned Army vehicles are kind of like our, vintage tractors. They're kept care of really well, and you'd be surprised how well they still run even after all these years.
Yeah. Now don't let Sam see this portion of the parade, because she has been, I think we've talked about it before, hounding me about getting a side-by-side.
Oh, she's the first person I'm beelining for afterwards on all these areas, these contests she can enter in to win one. I think the goal by the end of the year is to get her one.
I mean, if we win one, I'm good with that. Looking at Pull Walls Plumbing Solutions, located here on Main Street, just south of where we're stationed out here outside of Rick's shop. A couple members of the Pull Wall staff. And Susan Helms Accounting Services and Jamie Green, our state representative here in town, sponsoring the parade. And next up are the Utica High School Marching Chieftains.
Now, Preston, I know I touched base with you before the parade, but the Utica High School Marching Band is actually the band this year that is making me feel the oldest. My niece is finally old enough. She is marching today in her high school marching band towards the back there. I can already spot her from here, and I don't know who's less ready for her to be this old, me or her mom. We're both struggling today.
I know they stopped by and they were talking to Caitlin while we were getting set up here, so she told them we'd be looking for her, give her a shout out.
Oh, I see her in the back there with her clarinet, big smile on her face with all of her friends. She is just loving life.
And how could you not? It's a beautiful day for a parade, playing some good music. Oh, this float here, Caitlin, that's all you. That's all you.
Well, in case you are looking for something fun and exciting to do as we are getting close to fall time and spooky season, we have another great attraction that you can go to for haunted houses, hay rides, all of that good stuff. So spend the day at a cider mill and then, just get scared a little bit with Nightmares from Hell here for their haunted attractions.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a great. I'm sure they do a great job. You will
Preston's
find.
thinking of every other reason not to go.
Yeah, you will find me wherever the picnic tables are, and I can eat about a dozen donuts, and that's where I'll be.
You'll be with all the moms that dropped off the kids. Like,
Yep.
you guys go have all the fun you want. I'll be right here when you're done.
I'll be right there where it's safe.
Looks like we have another float here trying to convince Preston that he, needs to do a few more things around his house, whether it needs to be or not.
Oh, I do need to grade out some topsoil and plant some grass. I might see if I can rent that skidster right there. Oh, that would be fun. And I make it sound like I have this huge lawn. It's literally like 1/8 of an acre, maybe.
So it's quick to do. That's the way you look at it.
Especially with a skidster like that. Take me more time to go down and rent it than it would be to actually do it. So as we look at Action Home Centers and their Youth for Christ float.
This was one of the really cool float setups that I passed on the way to get up here for production and everything. They were parked out not too far from where I'm located, and they had a whole horde of people, all the trucks and stuff they had up there super early. They were in their spots. So they have been very excited to come in and be a part of our parade today.
And I mean, it's just a testament, and I think we say this all the time, a testament to, it's not just the hour or so you spend on the parade, but it's all the time beforehand putting everything together, or making all the signs and the banners and the floats and putting it all together the morning of to put on this awesome show we get each and every year. As we look at sponsors, Telto Contracting and Ace Hardware of Richmond, leading us up to the New Haven Marching Band. So our neighbors to the south.
Who I'm more impressed with when it comes to these bands, the color guard that they have at the front, twirling things, making sure that they keep that in line, or the conductors that are walking backwards. That's a lot of trust that you're not going to run into somebody.
Oh yeah. Now this next one, the Big Pink Barn, I actually this year for the children's parade, I was getting set up. I was helping Count Richmond get down there because we are not the same person, despite
rumors that go around town.
But I was helping Count Richmond get to the children's parade, and I got to cut through the backyard living area they've got there off of Main Street and really look at all the different things they've got there. And they've got a bunch of these, I call it a doll house. That's what we called it when I was a kid, was a doll house.
Yeah, all the cool stuff.
Sheds like the one you're going to see on the back of it, this, that, and the other. And I've also talked to a couple people that have gotten sheds and stuff from them, and they can't say enough great things about backyard living.
Yes, I'm always eyeing it, especially the pink house when I drive into town. And much like your yard, do I have the space for it? No, but I think with a little finagling, we could make it fit somewhere in the house.
You can make space.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and Caitlin, I see this Jeep driving around town all the time. And it's the Maleficent Jeep. She's got all her ducks displayed. All her ducks in a row. As we look at people that can help me get my ducks in a row at North Star Bank after all the fair food I bought.
Well, that, and after you finally get Sam her pride and joy, you'll have that ready to go to make sure you can finance everything.
And we're talking about a side-by-side.
Yes.
So the Chippewa Valley Band. The Big Reds. And again, every year blown away by, the coordination it takes to get a band here. And you think of all the kids and buses, okay, but then all of those instruments have to go somewhere.
Yeah. Probably why I never would have succeeded in band. I definitely would have been the band person that would lose my instrument. I wouldn't be able to participate with everybody.
thankfully they all remembered because we are hearing some great music today.
Yes, we're not doing as good as we normally do with our trivia of what they are actually playing, but I think that just means we've been enjoying the music more lately.
Yeah.
Well, there was a good shot right there. No candy left behind.
Nope.
You see her, she saw her opening and she took it. This is what you can use to get your grass and dirt and gravel and everything. You can rent this one out too. One foul swoop, get it all together.
Yeah, I'm just hoping Jason's mice can pick this up because I know what's about to happen.
It wouldn't be a trend driving that, would it?
Yep, it would be. And he knows I'm going to try to talk through this.
So it's almost a lost cause for us to do any commentary. I think I can already see the smile on his face.
Yep. We'll just let that keep passing. For those of you that don't know, that's my brother driving it. He's one of the guys, and we talk about, you know, farmers getting busy here in a little bit with harvest season coming up. He's always part of the Christensen farming crew. They call him in during, harvest and planting time. So you might see some of these tractors and trailers and combines coming down the road here pretty soon. Just plan a little extra time around harvest time. No need to rush.
You know, you wouldn't really be driving through a farming community if at least 1 to 2 times during harvest season you have to call up and say, hey guys, I'm gonna be late, combine's going through town, and there's just, I'm on combine time now. Combine
time. So as we see some of the Christensen family, some of the Christensen crew, they get all their farm equipment shined up and clean for the parade, and then they're going to turn around in a couple weeks and it'll be running 18 to 20 hours a day and be covered in dust.
Well, that's, you know, you got to get it cleaned up at least once a year.
Yeah. Yep, there's Colton driving the tractor. Little John Deere 8300. Well, it'll be harvest time here before we know it.
I think it's already here and we just don't know it.
True.
Maybe next year we can see if they can rig it up where they can just spread that out and they can just spray candy right over the crowd.
Like pixie sticks.
Yeah. Just tell kids to bring buckets. It'll be great.
It'd be like the color run they do at the elementary school.
Oh yeah, perfect.
Get that for the color run. I'll let Heidi and Mike know.
Gotta get the word out there for that so they can prepare.
Oh geez. Next we've got, it's purple, it's a dance studio, so it's got to be Leap of Faith.
Yes, if you were at the festival grounds earlier this weekend, you probably caught some of them performing over at the pavilion. I'm sure you've seen the dancers running around, probably hopped up on pixie sticks in their dance uniforms at the fair. Definitely another staple of the Richmond Good Old Days Parade.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe next year we can have them give us some tips and we can do like a big dance opening number. Really jazz it up next year.
Yeah.
Or maybe they can help out, you know, Count Richmond really jazz up when he comes out for spooky season, his favorite time of the year.
Yeah, I can ask him.
See if he'll be down.
Yeah. I'll shoot him a text. Because again, we are not the same person.
But you do have to wait for it to get dark.
True. As we see some of our Leap of Faith dancers come through, I know they work hard all year on all their different numbers. They got a couple recitals throughout the year. Every time I drive to the house in the evenings, it seems like there's got to be a class going on because there's parents picking kids up. So they get to use Good Old Days as a chance to show off, all that work they put in. So, and speaking of work that gets put in, we get to this point of the parade every year, and I've got it planned out what I'm going to say, and it all unravels on me. But you can't say enough about the people in these golf carts, the people wearing the orange shirts, the ones that don't get to make it to the parade because they're overdoing some other event that's going on at this time, or they're blocking off a road. All of our volunteers that make the Good Old Days happen. It really does take a village to put on something as spectacular as these 4 days are.
Yeah, and they spend all year round really preparing for Good Old Days weekend. They maybe will take tomorrow off, but we still appreciate them.
So, again, we appreciate you guys joining us. Appreciate you letting us push the sun back for one more day of summer. I'm Preston Trend.
And I'm Caitlin Gordon.
And we'll see you guys next year.
Bye, guys.